Ever get the feeling you've been cheated?
Board the windows. Try to hide. They're coming.
They? Who are they?
They're like vampires, you know?
Vampires don't exist, Jake.
That cold ain't the weather. That's death approaching.
Every year, the town of Barrow, Alaska is plunged into a month-long polar night. As the daylight fades, weird things start to happen. The destruction of property, sledge dogs slaughtered, and the severing of communication lines. From out of nowhere, a stranger arrives like a harbinger of death, and what he brings is an uninterrupted orgy of destruction. Can the small-town sheriff, Eben Olsen, and his estranged wife Stella stand up to this otherworldly threat for 30 days of night? David Slade brings a beautiful aesthetic Call of the Wild style to this story. He is a master of light and shade. I especially love his overhead shots which flow. His eye for composition creates great canvases for this otherworldly action. Slade is able to capture the savage beauty of the snowy landscapes. He makes Barrow, Alaska itself a character in the movie. Brian Reitzel's atmospheric compositions for this movie perfectly complement the visuals and create suspense. It also enhances to the drama of the action scenes. I get a slight Depeche Mode vibe with the use of synths. It's like a black celebration. The film is based on the comic book written by Steve Niles and Ben Templesmith. They helped bring horror comics back to prominence in the 2000s and reimagined the vampire mythos for a new generation. I am a fan of the comic, but unlike many other film adaptations, the film improves on the source material. Josh Hartnett is like most actors, a confirmed lefty, but unlike most, he seems to have principles and a disdain for the Hollywood lifestyle. He once stated, "Hollywood doesn't need my love," and even moved back to his hometown of Minnesota. He's now a family man and seems to have developed a more positive view of old school traditions. Looking at this film through the lens of 2021, it can be seen as an allegory of what's happening with atheist Democrats invading small conservative provincial towns. First come the homeless crazies. This develops into theft, vandalism, and the destruction of the town's infrastructure. It ends with the atheist leftist collective literally sucking the place dry. On the one side, we have the libertarian attitude of live free or die. On the other, you cannot stand up to the collective. Some of these hideous-looking male vampires are very thin, metrosexual and white. They look like they would be sipping lattes in San Francisco if they weren't drinking blood in Alaska. There are feminist attack dogs, and the children who, after indoctrination, turn on their parents. Marx could only dream of the destruction of the family so completely. Many of the townsfolk moved to the ends of the earth, in this case Alaska, to get away from Democrat-run towns. But there is no escape. The only way you can beat them is to become them. See Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals. Unfortunately, by becoming them, your fate is sealed. You can never return to the light. Barrow, Alaska is a predominantly working-class town with genuine ethnic diversity. A basket of deplorables, if you will. Men and women working and playing side by side, where life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness rule the day. These tough, no-nonsense types are the somewheres, who come up against the anywheres, an antithetical globalist collective. All this town harmony comes to an end when very white, elitist, atheist Democrats turn up. This clash of ideas never ends well. Self-sacrifice for your loved ones and standing by your family and friends, while others would cut and run. Protecting the vulnerable and fighting off despair and projecting strength whilst feeling doubts. These are the best of manly qualities and earn our hero 5 stars.
What did you do to yourself?